Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Be me. Hiking with my girlfriend on trail in northern Ontario. Go about 100 meters off trail, sit down to rest. As we're talking, we both look down and see a perfectly round star made of 6 sticks/branches, crisscrossed, on the ground. We can't explain it, it doesn't seem to be natural, the branches/sticks seem to be from different trees. Continue hiking. Suddenly, start hearing something way off in the distance that sounded like muffled voices, combined with a sense of dread. I can't take another step. I force myself to keep walking, but sense of, don't go in there, gets worse. Turn around and GTFO. In the same area, a few months later. Be hiking at dusk with GF again. As we're talking, see a flash, like a camera's flash, right behind us. Turn around, there's nothing there, and no other hikers are in the park. Empty parking lot when leaving. My girlfriend saw it too. WTF. EXE.
Be me. Working forestry in Scotland. The Forestry Commission had recently taken on about 60 or so people to dig drainage, clear forest trails, build fences, plant trees, etc. Groups get divided up into different vans to do various things in the morning. Middle of winter. Too cold for me.exe. I'd been working there about a month or so at this point, and most groups were the same bunch of people that were used to working together. This one morning, me and 2 other guys from the group had been told to clear overgrown branches from a hiking trail while everybody else went to dig drainage ditches. Easy money. Van parks up. Guy in charge basically points us up the trail and tells us to clear it with saws while they head down to clear and dig drainage ditches. We start heading up the trail. It's cold as hell and it had been snowing on and off the night before. It's mostly clear and we've been just doing minimal work and talking crap to distract us from the cold. About maybe half an hour up the trail, we collectively spot something up in a tree maybe about 8 to 10 feet up with steam coming off it. Bear in mind it's still like -1 at this point in the morning. As we're heading up, one guy starts freaking out cause he realizes what it is. It's the head of a deer stuck on the end of a broken branch. Absolutely no blood around the area save for the blood on the branch it was stabbed onto. No sign of a body whatsoever. Bad vibes. We all just kinda look at each other. Screw this. Walk back to the van and wait until lunch. Gaffer comes back with the rest of the lads looking angry that we're already back. Tell him what we saw. Doesn't believe us at all. Okay.png. Walk him up there after lunch. No deer head, just blood on the branch. Still doesn't believe us. Be on ditch digging duty for 2 weeks after it. Not the most exciting story, but it's a real one.
So we got a swamp out my way that has limestone caverns under it. The limestone gets dissolved by the acid left by decaying plants. These caves are 100% full of mud and plants. Nothing can get in them, but they tend to accumulate gas. What happens is the gas rises into pockets underground. Over time they would become the huge gas deposits we mine for liquefied natural gas. But this causes some strange phenomena in the town. A. We get gas in the aquifers, so you see bubbling in strange places, often it's like cracks in a car park or something. B. Gas in the water supply. We don't know how because our drinking water is meant to be sealed. We think positive gas pressure is forced through the cracks which water typically leaks out from, and nobody cares about. It's like those fracking videos but far less dramatic. C. We get optical distortions caused by the bubbles of gas rising. Typically in the evening, the sun low on the horizon hits the gas that's rising and reflects down, so you get this ball of light in the sky, kinda like you were holding a glass ball up there. From time to time we have UFO freaks turn up and we tell them to go away and take meds. Religious people aren't welcome in our town because they start acting crazy when there's bubbles in the tap water or they see a light in the sky. Some years a new family moves in and starts causing all kinds of trouble. The mild hostility to religious people and outsiders earned us a kind of spooky reputation. People think it's us who are weird, but we're really all just trying to keep weird people out.
Nothing spooky/unexplainable whilst in the woods, but there used to be a small conifer tree in someone's front garden just down the street from where my mum lives. I would forget the tree was there, when walking back home baked out of my mind on dementia plant, and at 3 a.m. the shape and size of it was like that of an adult female humanoid, with a kind of shawl or hood over her head, would give me serious witch vibes. It would catch me off guard and I would shit myself at the sudden sight of this pitch-black figure as I had to walk past it, within a couple of meters, to get home. Even when I would remember it, and not be taken so by surprise, I really had to work overtime to convince myself it were just a tree, time and time again. I don't think anything else has had such a spooky effect on me, of all my entire life, including some genuinely unexplainable events most people would attribute to ghosts. That tree.
Me in 2013. Experienced outdoorsman who regularly backpacks overnight in Appalachia. Find an awesome campsite on top of a ridge. This spot is at least a 2-hour hike into the woods and then another half-mile up off the main trail. I have to scramble up a ridge to get here. Trying to say it's very hidden and somewhat inaccessible. Pristine site. Good kitchen area on ridge and good campsite area about 200 meters back into the woods. On the ridge there is a small memorial marker presumably for a dead climber. It has a circle of rocks with 2 pieces of wood tied with climbing rope and a carabiner. Untouched rocks with fresh moss, pine cones and flowers decorating. Feels out of place but also peaceful. This spot seems very remote but the market adds to the atmosphere and beautiful view. Have a great solo night at peace and comfort my guys. Even see a shooting star. The next morning I went to the marker on the ridge. Hike out and tell no one about this amazing spot. For the next 6 years regularly come back to this spot to camp. Can't visit this area without staying the night here. Probably camp at this spot 3 or 4 times a year for 6 years. Never see a soul at this spot. Never see any sign of anyone having camped there. Now the weird part. Never any signs of anyone else knowing about or camping here. Every time I visit there is new fresh moss and fresh flowers on the memorial marker. The marker is never disturbed and always pristine. Boys, I know that someone is probably just making the trip up there to replace all that stuff, but somehow I feel it's more than that. It's deep in the woods and up a ridge. There is no moss up top they'd have to bring in. They'd have to regularly make the 4+ hour round trip hike multiple times a year to the site and never leave a sign of having camped there. This moss and those flowers are there even in winter. Honestly, the guy part of me even thinks that it has always been the same moss and flowers that have somehow never gone bad. It seems like something slightly eerie is going on there more than just the logical answer. Can't explain the feeling but make of it what you will.
Be me. Crisp fall day. Crunchy leaves cover the ground through the entire forest. Deer hunting from tree stand a week into the season. Seeing lots of sign but haven't seen any deer this season. Eerily quiet. Getting cold. Getting late in the day, almost the end of legal hunting light. Decide to go home before it gets darker. Lower rifle down with rope. Climb down. Get to the bottom of tree stand and retrieve gun. Turn around. 20 feet away next to a bush I see the silhouette of what looks like a giant hairy ape. Definitely bigger and taller than me. Bigfoot. PNG. Scares the living out of me. Standoff goes on for 30 seconds before the beast goes down on all fours and bolts up the hill towards my car. Realize instantly it's just a really big black bear and now I have to walk in the direction it just ran. I got home safe without seeing the bear again and now I'm fully convinced that all Bigfoot sightings are just bears standing on their hind legs. I still cannot believe this animal managed to sneak up on me so quietly, I could barely hear it when it ran away.
Be me. Hiking up a mountain on a snowy day in the Irish countryside with my dog. The further I get to the peak of the trail, the heavier the snowfall. Eventually reach the peak about an hour in. It is snowing so much that I cannot see more than a couple feet in front of me, there is blinding wind. Feels absolutely surreal, like I'm in a dream state, there is white everywhere and howling wind. Become kind of disorientated and try to find the fencing to use as a waypoint to get down. As I'm doing this I hear what sounds like 1,000 muffled voices interloped with the wind whispering in my ear in unintelligible, angry-sounding noise, and I get a deep sense of anxiety, a pit in my stomach, and my heart starts racing. Dog begins growling, a deep, violent growl I've only ever heard when someone attempted to burgle our home. Turn around and see what looks like a tall black human-shaped silhouette a couple meters yonder at the precipice of where my vision ends. After about a second it appears to take a step back and disappears completely. At this point I'm absolutely terrified and stumbling and trying to run back down where I think the fence is. Find it. Basically run down the trail, slipping numerous times in the snowy and icy conditions, but I just wanted to GTFO. I've been up that trail since then and nothing strange has happened. For what it's worth, the trail is rather close to an ancient Irish burial cairn. This is the only spoopy thing I've ever experienced while hiking.
The Australian. Going in Innawoods over long weekend because no friends. No guns. Only hatchet and knife, as well as regular camping stuff. Get there later than I'd like because of traffic. Late afternoon. Hiking through woods towards my personal favorite spot. Built fire pit and everything. Sun is getting blocked by trees. Have headlamp on. MFW, I hear Roy Orbison and Dreams in Distance. This is my favorite song. As well. Is there someone out here with similar music tastes? And a Bluetooth speaker? Consider going over. But I came out here to be alone. Continue on. As I keep walking, the song abruptly cuts out. 2 minutes later, intro to In Dreams starts playing again. Closer but still faint, to my northwest. Lawwat. Jimmy Russellment, 50%. Am I hallucinating? Did the other guy move camp while jogging to get ahead of me? Feel weirded out. Keep hiking towards camp, roughly about 2 kilometers from camp now. Not 20 seconds later. In Dreams comes up again, closer again. Jimmy Russellment, 99%. Start half running, this is not right. Once again. Song stops, then reappears to my left, even louder. Break into sprint. Nearly at camp. Open bag while running. Grab fire starters, stuff spilling out everywhere. The first 10 seconds of In Dreams starting then starting like a stuck tape recorder. If said tape recorder was chasing me through a forest in the evening. See clearing W camp. Run up, throw entire pack of fire starters into pit. Light them, shove eucalyptus leaf branch onto it. Smother it. Roy Orbison's haunting classic getting closer as it attempts to get to me. Jim is rustling enough to generate electricity for a Chinese village at this point. Desperately try to light again. Dry eucalypt leaves are perfect fuel. Goes up like a flare. Shovel more on. Eucalyptus burn good but are quick to it. A few minutes pass. No sign of song. I've put all the sticks and wood surrounding me around the fire. It's burning merrily and sustainably. I stay up the rest of the night. With my knife in hand, drinking instant coffee and smoking to stay awake. Only venturing away to get firewood. Don't hear In Dreams anymore. Do, however, hear footsteps of something circling for first hour or so. Morning comes. Most of my stuff fell out along the way when I opened my bag. So I leave my gear behind, so I can run as fast as possible. I had a pretty nice sleeping bag. But I'm not dying because I'm lugging it around. Keep knife and hatchet though. For obvious reasons. Make break through forest. There's a semi-recognizable trail so I kind of know where I'm going. I'm hardly the fittest guy. But the monkey I'm being hunted part of brain lets me keep a steady jog for most of the run. No song, though. Not falling for that, keep running. I don't think it was out there in the day. But I still ran. Reached the parking lot after 45 minutes. Get in car, drive back home without stop. Get in bed, sleep 12 hours straight. Get up, realize the implication for me if I were to tell those around me about my zany adventure. Decide not to. Have panic attack when I hear In Dreams from then on. I always carry a shotgun whenever I go in a woods now. Sawed off so I can hide it in a bag. Sure. I'm screwed if the cops find it, but I'll be 7 shades more screwed if something like that finds me without any weapons or fire. As for the thing, it could have just been some dumbass with a speaker. But the chances he knew my, at the time, favorite song were kind of thin. I think it knew what my favorite song was. And wanted me to go towards it. If you want to get speculative. I'm a first-gen expat curry, so maybe some abo spirit or whatever decided it wanted a piece of the new guy on the block. Believe me or not. It happened. Be careful in Tasmania. Something's out there.
Not too spooky, just unnerving. Really pushed myself on the last day on the trail. It's only 6 more miles to my car, but there is one more mountain that I need to go around. Dead tired and just decide to take a quick bread and eat lunch. Trail is very unpopular and I only saw one person the whole week I was there. No footprints in the soil except mine. Sit down to rest and drink water. Fall asleep without meaning to leaning against a tree. The sun is going down and when I get up I realize that there are fresh footprints in the soil. They go from the forest downhill, across the trail, right up to me, pace for a second then go up the mountain behind me. Footprints are not that big, only slightly larger than my foot. It's getting brighter for some reason and I realize it isn't sunset but sunrise. I had slept 13 hours out in the open without being awoken by anything. Walk back the way I came for a mile to see if anyone came this way, saw me and took their boots off to mess with me. Nothing. Try and follow the footsteps but the mountain is too steep and I lose them almost immediately. Walk out constantly checking the trail for any footprints. See nothing until I reach the deserted trailhead. Drive home. I was more curious than anything but I still have no idea who would have been walking up the mountain without using the trail barefoot.
Be me. Hiking in a U.S. state that borders Canada. It's late spring and I'm about 10 miles into the trail, well marked. Great, gotta take a dump. Forgot toilet paper. There was only about a half-hour walk to the next little campsite according to the sign. It's one with an outhouse. And I'm weird about wiping with leaves. Keep walking. Taco Bell this morning. Walking. Hear a creak or something. Head off the trail towards noise. About 50 feet into trees. See a clearing ahead. Figures in clearing. 2 men, one wearing old ratty clothes sitting on ground, one, probably 70s, standing bare naked pissing on other guy. He turns and sees me. Doesn't stop pissing. Smiles with old man meth teeth. WTF. I just said something along the lines of OF and booked it to the trail. Swear I hear brush moving behind me the rest of the hike. Never on that trail again. How did that nasty old bastard even walk all the way out there? Easily the worst hike of my life.
Not really out per se, but I was on the way back from an outing. Be me. Driving home from touring national parks in the West. Driving through Wisconsin. Coming down the interstate, it's about 9 p.m. to get to a small city. Feel fine, decide to keep going until next pop center to stop for the night. Driving along in the darkness. See figure standing in the road, think it's a man in some type of black rain slicker at first. It notices my lights and starts walking off the road. Realize it's at least 8 feet tall and very slender. See its legs are backwards with a very short thigh and long sloping cannon bone that slopes forwards. Has a very peculiar gait to its walk, like some alien or something. Appears very athletic, like it could run very fast and jump really high if it wanted to. Just walks across the road and into the woods in front of me as I slow down in awe. It was black and had no noticeable head or arms, just a tall oblong body with strange legs. Body seemed to shimmer and ripple in a weird way. Legs were very muscular and sinewy. Realize it's not any kind of known animal and book it out of there. End up stopping in the Wisconsin Dells and hit up internet search. Numerous sightings in the area of Beast of Bray Road. Nope, nope, nope.
Dime, Indigenous. Joins a Scouts-like organization in high school. Official Scouts here is wimpy with a heavy focus on parades. Meanwhile, these kind of organizations are doing more of the outdoors and Innawoods survival stuff. 1 year after I finish high school. I joined the recent initiation event because I got nothing to do at college yet back then. On the last day of the 7 days long initiation, we had a long march for about 12 kilometers from the campsite down in an upland swamp to a small mountain nearby. The mountain is a small one, thick with jungle, with picturesque crater at top, but there are asphalt road from the base of the mountain till the visitors center near the crater, so the trip ain't too much exhausting. When we finally reach the visitor center, one of my female friend that isn't physically fit from the start suddenly passes out. People flocks to her, trying to wake her up again. I was told to keep an eye out for my juniors around the campfire by my older seniors. Suddenly she lets a loud laughter. Very loud one. Totally doesn't sound like her at all. With high-pitched voice. If you wonder what it sounded like, just search Kuntilanak laughter. Saw Kuntilanak on YouTube. It's a ghost from our Southeast Asian folklore called Kuntilanak. Nangnak, Kuntilanak. There's a ton of films about it with the SFX. Ain't searching that in the middle of the night. Me recalling this memory already makes me want to stay awake for the whole night, frozen in fear. So does my juniors around me. My friends told me she was possessed by spirits. I've been hiking since elementary. And I never really thought about supernatural stuff whenever I'm in a woods. And I never experience any outworldly things that I started to become skeptic of any spooky Innawoods stories until that day.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.